Thank you very much and welcome to SlyMedia. A lot has been happening since the Supreme Court judgment, and most people never expected to see Morgan Komichi probably going to Thokozani Kupe's camp. What led you to make such a decision?
Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you so much, Robert. Actually, that's the question which must be answered. And this is the question that everyone must ask. Why Morgan Komichi this time around? The man who has stood so firm with President Morgan Tsvangirai, with MDC, and with the struggle for the liberation of the Zimbabweans. Why now? Something big should have happened. When the least expected person finally talks out or stands up against a system, people must develop interest, and people must actually try their best to understand what went wrong, other than accusing that person, blaming that person, calling names. This is what people should actually question. I have been very loyal to the struggle, loyal to my President Morgan Tsvangirai. I put my life before the guillotine for the struggle. Remember, I was arrested in 2007 and served almost 6 months in prison. I was arrested again in 2013 and spent 100 days in Chikurubi. I was arrested again in 2018 and was fined. I was found guilty by the courts. All these are examples of a person who has been fighting for the struggle, who has been very loyal. But doesn't necessarily mean that loyal people don't see wrong things. The problem with the loyal people is that they try to advise inside. They identify problems because they want to be constructive. They will talk to their leaders. And they give them time. Loyal people have got patience. I'm such kind of a person who is so patient, who takes so much time to interact with the leader, interact with many people in order to resolve problems. I've done that during Morgan Tsvangirai's time. I could advise him, we could differ with him, I could differ with him, but at the end of the day, we would come down together and get a solution to any problem that would have happened in the country or any part. The same thing also, I tried the same thing with the then president of MDC, Mr. Chamisa. It was not easy. I'm just among the few that have managed to stand up against that kind of leadership. Probably I've just shown the brevity of a person who does not tolerate misgovernance. But many others feel the same way, but they might not be able to talk. They might not be able to come out and criticize the leadership. But right inside their own hearts, they are feeling some pain, which we are trying to correct. However, the fundamental issue really here, besides the other issues that people can talk about, is the respect of our party constitution, the MDC constitution, which has been violated right and center, violated in so many areas. Remember, when President Morgan Tsvangirai appointed the vice presidents, it was challenged in courts in 2017. The court did not manage to get down to the merits of the case. The Murimoga case was thrown out of the window because it had technical defects, but the merits were not attended to. But it was challenged. It was again a constitutional interpretation challenge. When it came to 2018, after the demise of our late President Tsvangirai, we went through a process of looking for a successor. It was again challenged by some of our cadres that you do not respect the constitution. These were discussions that were taking place inside. Chakafukiza Zimbabwean. You want to be constructive by engaging inside the organization. You advise the leadership inside the organization that let's respect the constitution of the party. Let's go for the extraordinary Congress and elect a new leader. However, it's not all of you who will agree. Some will have their own interpretation of the constitution. Again, a dispute arose, which then was taken to court. It was presented to the High Court, and the judgment was given. Again, discussions were done. Now that the High Court has ruled in favor of us going to the Extraordinary Congress, can we not go there and resolve this problem once and for all, so that we can avoid to be taken to court every time? In our discussions, we raised these issues. The High Court judgment was so clear, because the High Court judgment simply repeated what our party constitution says whenever you look for a successor of the president. You go, the acting president acts, and within 12 months of period, you call for the Extraordinary Congress and elect the replacement of the president. That was not done. Instead, the National Council did that job for the Extraordinary Congress, which was unconstitutional. So the pronouncement by the High Court that it was unconstitutional is correct, because we did not do it. I don't know what we feared. I don't know why you avoided it. I don't know. We should have simply followed our constitution. So our constitution has not been followed. This is where the conflict has come from. Because we believe in constitutionalism, some of us. We believe in democracy. We believe in the rule of law. We believe in justice among key values of our core values of our organization. And we want to portray or protect the image of the organization. Why was MDC formed? The MDC was formed to fight the ZANU-PF government, because the ZANU-PF government did not respect constitutionalism. Because the ZANU-PF government did not respect the rule of law. The ZANU-PF government did not respect justice and democracy and human rights. They did not respect. And they were formed to fight for those things. So which therefore means, as MDC, we must be smart in those areas. We must not be criticized in those areas. We must not be found wanting in those areas, because our purpose would come to an extinct. Because it would be very difficult for MDC to stand up and say, you are not democratic, when the internal process of MDC are not democratic. It won't be fair to say, ED, you don't respect the constitution of the country, when the internal process of MDC would not respect our own party constitution. It won't be fair that ED, you don't respect the rule of law, when MDC is known for not respecting the rule of law. And it won't be fair for us to say, MDC, you don't respect the justice, you lack justice in the country, when our members themselves are calling for justice. So these are fundamental issues and fundamental differences which has created the so-called two camps in MDC. The people that strongly believe in the rule of law, good governance, and the people that don't care about the good governance, people that would care about the popularity issues, people that would care about power issues, people that would probably have the Machiavellian principles, which were saying, no, why are we rushing? Let us correct ourselves. The order is very simple from the Supreme Court. Go back as MDC family. Go and organize your internal processes. Go to the Extraordinary Congress and elect a new leader. And which also gives the chance to Nelson Chamisa to come to the Extraordinary, fairly elected. If he's fairly elected constitutionally, all of us will support him He will be our leader. But it must be through a proper process, a constitution MDC. It must be through proper democratic processes of MDC, so that at least whoever comes out is undisputed. And will have sanitized the accusations and allegations that were being pended with.
You are talking about rule of law and respect of MDC party constitution. During the last days of the late President Morgan Tsvangirai, Madame Thokozani Kupe is also, from other supporters within your party, accused of not respecting the party constitution. They said she was not attending some of the meetings. What does your constitution say to someone who breaches that constitution to that extent?
If you don't, if you, the MDC constitution has got a code of conduct, well prescribed. And the MDC party has got also disciplinary guidelines, disciplinary procedures, which are well articulated in the constitution, which must be applied on anyone who is offended, who has been found guilty. There must be a proper disciplinary procedure that must be organized to deal with somebody in a manner that is fair and free. That's very clear. So if Madam Kupe had not come to the meetings for the period required for an action to be taken, we don't defend her. She should have gone through a proper disciplinary procedure, which is well documented in the party constitution. Not to use other frontiers which are not recognized, and not to use people of the same faction to crucify somebody. But whenever you violate the party constitution of the MDC, you must be disciplined. We don't defend them. We don't defend anyone who violates the party constitution, because we want to correct things. We have observed these unconstitutional processes taking place for a long time, and we cannot just keep quiet and watch. We want them corrected.
And why was he not disciplined then? Because we are looking at the party constitution.
The biggest challenge is that, let's go back to the arbiter, which is the Supreme Court judgment, and the High Court judgment. Those are the arbiter. There was a dispute in MDC where people interpreted the constitution differently, and groupings were then set, and they were generated. Those groupings started countering each other, throwing stones at each other. The formations were then all nullified by the Supreme Court judgments. Whatever actions that were done by the National Chamisa team, which I was part of, and the Madam Kupe team, were all nullified. So we are talking about things that have been dealt with the professional arbiter, which is the Supreme judgment. So we're talking about wrong things. So we did not respect the constitution from the beginning. When we had our icon, President Morgan Tsvangirai, demised, we were supposed to have sat down constitutionally and followed the right process of establishing the right organs of the party and looking for the proper leader to lead us through a proper process. Then all what we then could have done after that could have found no one to criticize. So really, the Supreme Court have already ruled that all what was presided over by Madam Kupe or presided over by Nelson Chamisa were null and void. So those are no longer worth issues to discuss, because they are what do you call it? They are sterile. Because the arbiter is ruled that what you guys did as MDC members is null and void. Go back to 2018, 15 February, and restart the game. This is where we are, some of us, and we are inviting everybody who was the member of MDC at that particular time to organize the Eastern Congress so that we can restart the process, because we messed up throughout from that time to the time we got the school judgment. We messed up. And I believe good leadership should always be in a position to say, comrades, I made a mistake here. I am sorry. Please, can you forgive me? I am prepared to reform, to restart the process in a good way, in a transparent way and accountable way. This is where we are, some of us. So this is where you see the difference. And that's where you see the consistency of Morgan, Komichi, we have questioned why. I've been consistent. I've never left the MDC for, by the way. I'm still on the backbone of MDC, the original part. I'm not talking about any other new part. The one party with the constitution, the one party which went to elections in 2018, the one party that went to the 5th Ordinary Congress last year in May, the same party that went to Rufaro and celebrated the 20 years anniversary is MDC, no any other party. And this is where still Morgan Komichi is. So really, people should not really ask me what has happened to me. Should actually ask those ones that have gone outside the track. People that are not talking of a new political party called MCT Alliance. People that are talking about things that have never happened in our party. Should actually be asked, why are you deciding to divide the party? Why are you destroying the part that was left by Morgan Tsvangirai? Don't ask me those questions. Ask the one that people that are purporting to be in the right track. They are not in the right track. Actually, I'm calling them back to come back to the MDC so that we can build our party. We can restore the MDC legacy. We can restore the Morgan Tsvangirai legacy of respect, love, unity, democratic, and solidarity. Those are things that we want to make sure that they prevail in our part.
You are talking of democratic principles, love, unity, and harmony within the MDC family. But we have seen it looks as if the Supreme Court judgment has armed another function within MDC to continue, causing havoc or disunity within the MDC.
It has not armed any faction at all. Actually, what the Supreme Court has done, it has armed MDC members to unite, to reunite. Because it has not said this group must not go to the Extraordinary Congress. If the Supreme Court had said Group A go to the Extraordinary Congress and the Group B don't go within the same party, that could have really mean to say one group was empowered or one group was bad. No, it did not do that. It hasn't segregated any group of people within MDC to participate in the Congress. Actually, every member of MDC is now empowered to freely go back and organize for the Extraordinary Congress so that they can elect a replacement for President Morgan Tsvangirai. So really to say the Supreme Court has favored Madam Kupe, no, she is not even favored by that. She only assumed an acting position of an MDC president after the demise of the President Morgan Tsvangirai, simply because the other vice presidents that were appointed by President Morgan Tsvangirai in 2016 were declared illegitimate by the Supreme Court, because our party constitution requires them to be elected by Congress, and our late president erred and appointed them without going through a process of the Congress. So the illegitimacy of the two gentlemen who happened to be vice president by the time President Morgan Tsvangirai demise was declared, was nullified. So really you cannot say the Supreme Court empowered Madam Pirato. He was outvoted by thugs. When Pirato said it, Tora ni pakati pa vanhu vari panapa, masses voted for thieves, rapists and murderers to be saved at the expense of the Lord, our Lord Jesus. So the truth will always prevail, because the history of those thieves is no more there. Well, the history of Jesus, which stood for truth, is expanding like a veiled fire up to now. So the truth shall always come. The Zimbabwe shall always know the truth. We stand for their lives. We will save them ourselves. Thank you.
Coming to the 2018 elections, when ZEC announced the final result at Harare International Conference Center, you stood in front of multitudes of cameras and said President Mnangagwa has not won the elections. Recently, in one of your interviews, you said Mnangagwa has won the elections. What has changed?
I never said Mnangagwa won the elections. I said President Mnangagwa is legally the president of Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Because of the outcome of the Constitutional Court, in which court we had taken him to, and we claimed to have our own evidence to prove to the courts, and unfortunately the evidence that we had did not convince the courts, and the judgment was given. As a person who believes in the rule of law, whom am I to then stand up and say I pick and choose judgments? When the judgment is in my favor, I celebrate. When the judgment is against me, I condemn. The courts. As a constitutionalist, I must be consistent. I must be consistent with the rule of law. If there are difficult, if there are challenges, that's why we're here as an opposition, to fight for the correction of those mishaps in the process of justice. We must continue to fight. I'm not saying the justice system in Zimbabwe is perfect. I'm not saying that. But I must be able to be consistent, to be fair, and to avoid politics when the politics is necessary. The whole process, Mnangagwa as a president, these are two different institutions. There is a court process, which is the judicial system. There is a ZEC process, which has got mad processes of elections. A lot of things that are not good. This is where we are talking about electoral reforms to be dealt with. I never said Chigumba was correct. I never said Zeki was correct. I still stand by my word that the elections that I declared fake are still fake because they were conducted by ZEC. So this here we need to deal with the ZEC, to deal with electoral reforms, to deal with election processes. So the processes produced an illegitimate person who then got transformed into the legal person by the courts. So our war is MDC is still there. We want reforms, electoral reforms. We want to make sure that the elections are going to be held free and fair. We want democracy. But let's not just bunch all processes and condemn them. We will not be able to get what we want if we are not specific. So the electoral process which generated President Mnangagwa is flawed. It needs to be dealt with. But the Constitutional Court, which dealt with the legal case, which we went with to court ourselves, declared him legally the president of the country.
Soon after the judgment, Supreme Court judgment, have you tried to reach out to Nelson Chamisa? And what has been his response?
We have been condemned. That's why if you go back to records, the 4 or 5 gentlemen sat down and actually expelled us from the party. Unfortunately, they expelled us from the party called the MDC Alliance, which is a nullity anyway. Which means they are not prepared to engage because they have labeled and they have condemned. And they continue to write nasty social media issues and labeling and lying. The media are awash with the sponsored groups of people who write every day demonizing the constitutionalists, the Democrats, men of justice and rule of law. As they do that. But the question is, we engage to discuss what? To discuss what? We are saying let us all meet as MDC family members and discuss about the extraordinary Congress, which is the platform which will unite all of us. Can you imagine the people that believed in Nelson and the people that believe in our thinking meeting under one tree and elect a common leader? We will be left united. So this is where we are. This is where we are talking. If there is any form of engagement, it is the arrangement is to prepare for the extraordinary Congress. We don't need to sit down and talk against the Supreme Court judgment. We don't need to sit down and talking issues that concern or that would end up making us violate the party constitution. No, that we cannot do that.
Have you tried? Okay, let's remove the name Nelson. Have you tried to engage some of the members within the MDCA who are members of MDC to say, let's sit down and build our party
thank you so much.
as we go to the National
I
Congress?
think in my initial discussion with you, I said I'm not prepared to divulge the names for the purpose of security.
Okay.
But we are happy to have all members who are MDC members and to go with us to the Extraordinary Congress. It will have more legitimacy than having another group shouting from the top of the mountain condemning us. No, we will not do that. We actually will be happy to have everyone who is an MDC member, who qualifies to be a delegate of 2014, big part of the whole process within the election. We don't want to segregate, or don't want to strengthen one faction. We want to unite all factions so that at least we are united. We are stronger when we are one. We are big as an organization if we are united. We don't want to practice factionalism. We are sick and tired of factionalism. Probably the last 2 years that we have gone through, it has been a factionalist movement where the majority of the people were left outside. We are different from that. We want to unite all groups of people. We want to unite all people from all regions. Makaranka, Zezuru, Ndebere, Matonga. We want everyone to be united so that at least we can rebuild our organization to its original state. Remember, under President Morgan Tsvangirai, the MDC was a huge organization which was, we could actually identify a crack of tribalism or factionalism. We could actually identify, because the President Tsvangirai was above factionalism, was above tribes. He was the mother, or was the mother of all children. He would embrace everyone from all corners, and he would listen to everyone, whether you like him or don't like him, whether he likes or doesn't like you, but he had the opportunity and the time to listen to all party members. And it was so warm. You would feel warmth around Morgan Tsvangirai whenever you are going to meet him in his office or at his house. It was so beautiful. I'm missing this time. I'm missing the Morgan Tsvangirai time, where I could be able to phone and say, President Tsvangirai, then he jokes and says, after 2 minutes time, I read, baby, Papa, get the bow, and he opens the gate and we talk, and I leave.
Will it be difficult for a senior member like Morgan Komichi to engage with some of his colleagues? And will it be easy for Morgan Komichi to engage with members of the ruling party, some of whom he said for the last 2 decades have brutalized him? It has done a democratic thing, but because you only differ on one aspect of constitutionalism, is it difficult for you as a team to sit down and say, comrades, this is what we want within the MDC?
I want to dismiss the report that came in the Daily News that there was a meeting between the team that belonged to Mr. Chamisa and our team to share positions. We are not for that. We are not for positions, by the way. We are here for democratic processes and constitutionalism. We don't want to allocate a position to Morgan Komichi or any other person. We want people to be given the freedom to elect their leader or leaders in a democratic process as prescribed by our party constitution. So really that piece of newspaper that came out yesterday was really a malicious effort to tarnish constitutionalists. We don't believe in that, and we never did that, and none among us has ever been involved in those talks. So really, no, we are in the process of engagements with the members of MDC to go to the Extraordinary Congress. Even someone that are shouting, we're engaging them individually, giving them the confidence, and we are getting the buy-in of so many members of the party that are prepared to the Extraordinary Congress. So really, as I said before, we are in a transition. People are transiting from one level to other level, and they are still in between. So they're actually moving towards the MDC, which we are in charge of at the moment. So really, you'll be surprised that many people that we see them denigrating us now will be actually part of the teams that will be at the Extraordinary Congress. A leader goes beyond such naive, frivolous issues of difference. A leader engages in any conflict. a great leader always wants to resolve a problem by engagement. We learned from the President Morgan Tsvangirai, you know, politics took away his wife. Remember, politics took away his wife. Morgan Tsvangirai had his own personal life damaged by ZANU-PF, and the majority of his supporters were killed by ZANU-PF. Remember the 2008 and many other years before, many people died. And he won election in 2008, and he was actually elected president of the country by the Zimbabwean people. But the other people of the ZANU-PF refused to hand over power to him. And he should have been a very bitter man. But as a great leader, he said, I want to save the lives of the people of Zimbabwe. I will not go to the State House over dead bodies. I don't want to be the president of the country over dead bodies. He said that. But that to me demonstrated a great leader, and I cannot fail to do that.
Assuming that after the extraordinary congress of the MDC party, there is a leader that has been democratically elected, do you foresee that leader in talks with the ruling party to postpone elections? Do you think that leader will be in agreement with that, to say, let's postpone the elections and build the economy?
Let us not give an outcome before engagements, to say postpone elections. No, let us not do that. Let us be an outcome of engagement, to define exactly what should come out of there. But in any conflict, and by the way, I'm a conflict guru by studies. In any conflict, there comes a time where dialogue is necessary. When the two actors all feel necessary to talk, when the two actors all feel not necessary anymore to continue fighting, that's the time when we say the climax has been reached, and people should engage. When the people that follow you all feel there's no time for engagement, that is people that believe in that follow MDC, people that follow ZANU-PF, when all they feel there's no time to engage. When both sides feel necessary to engage, that's the best time for engagement. Never get engaged in any dialogue when the other sides feel pompous and still feel victorious. The question is, in Zimbabwe, the MDC members, do they want to talk? I don't know. ZANU-PF members, do they want to talk? I don't know. So the process of consultation must take place to find out from the people that believe in MDC, not only activists, but including church members, traditional leaders, Makorokozas, the Windies, the vendors, the business community. They need to be consulted, but they must be part and parcel of this process. They must have the ownership of whatever you're doing. We hope ZANU-PF will do the same thing as well. They will consult their people as well. There are civil society organizations that believe in them. And if these two groupings would find it necessary to negotiate, who are we to refuse? We're not here for personal power. We're not here we're not looking for jobs for ourselves. We are a group of people that is sacrificed its own personal lives for the benefit of the people. We want the people to benefit. I'm saying leaders must not benefit first, or leaders must not fight for positions first. In government, by the way, I'm defending government. I want people to benefit from the good economy, good governance. People should be able to go to health hospitals. We should be able to have no queues of fuel of cars waiting for fuel for 10 days. No, we should not do that. We must have an economy active, vibrant, where young people are employed. This is what we should aim at as Zimbabweans. So MDC must go beyond selfish agenda. MDC must go beyond programs that only deals with their stomachs. MDC people must be mature enough and say, we want to see Zimbabweans happy. We want to see young people happy. We want to see good schools, good hospitals, We want to see jobs created. We want to see money available that is in our banks. And we want to see a united Zimbabwe. This is where we must go, other than concentrating on Ndodagita president, Ndodagita prime minister. That's not an issue. That's not within me. When I play a role in the democratic processes, I do it for the people.
There are MDC supporters watching right now. What is your message to them?
My message is that let us be known for constitutionalism as MDC family. Let us be a distinct grouping of people in the country that fight for the rights of the people. People that fight for constitutionalism. People that fight for democracy, for rule of law. We must not sacrifice these values for the sake of power or for the sake of Tudakutonga. We do not create dictatorship in the process. Our party constitution. Let us organize ourselves. Let us go to the External Congress and elect the leader for our own choice. And the leader can be anyone. The Supreme Court did not bar anyone from participating in the External Congress. The leader should come from you. And let us use the Supreme Court judgment as a platform to unite all of us. Remember, there were so many people that were left out in the processes. So many factions that were formed due to bad governance in the process of our party. Now is the time for us to unite. Let us all come and organize this on the Congress. Let us also, through this process, stop violence. I'm aware of certain youth that are organizing to kill. Certain youth that are organizing to burn other people's homes. Certain youth that are tracking other leaders behind in order to cause harm. Let us not do that. That's not our culture as MDC. We're a non-violent organization which should enjoy peace. So if you are a person who is being sponsored or being given money by certain leaders and you are being sent to go and kill somebody, you die in prison alone. That person will denounce you. Stop that. Let us unite as MDC. Thank you so much.
Would you say, as a leader and as a senior member within the party, there is something that you have done wrong and wronged party members that you think today this is the platform for them to say, this is what I've done?
Let me take this opportunity to clear some of the perception which had been moving around in the party. That National Chairperson Morgan Komichi was solely behind the imposition of candidates in 2018. Morgan Komichi preferred certain candidates for the elections in 2018. I am sorry, this is not true. I actually suffered as a result of that. I stood and fought for you when you didn't know. There are certain members of parliament who can witness for me, other candidates that can actually divulge for me. I always stood for fairness and justice and freedom. I've always wanted people to choose their own candidate. But things beyond me, I was not the ultimate in the process. There was authority somewhere where decisions were being made without me consulted. I was not part of that at all. That is why today I've stood up against that process, that system, because I am sick and tired of a system that does not respect other people. So really, let me take this day. But I also want to take responsibility as a leader, that I was part and parcel of the leadership then. And I was the national chairperson leadership then. Probably I could have done better to save you. Probably I could have done better to make you feel comfortable. On that point, I want to apologize. I am sorry. Please forgive me.